Listening. What do you have to say?
CNN.com. This all began because of the conditions of our school.
We are not gang members as we've been portrayed.
Stephanie Williams, National Dean's List.
A bad hair day. First 10 minutes, you made up in your mind who we were.
What's going on, man? What's going on? We are back. We got another retro review for y'all, and probably gonna be trying to make this like retro review Sunday or something. But we got another retro movie review for y'all, and we're actually doing Light It Up 1999, man. This is one of the ones I kind of forgot about. This was I enjoyed this one. I did. I enjoyed this one for the times. Probably later on and coming up and even rewatching this, it's got its issues, but I still enjoy it for what it was and what it was trying to do at that time. Because I feel like it was actually trying to do something a little different when it came to like certain high school movies around the 90s or whatever, but we're going to talk about it. Once again, though, shout out to anybody that's going to be coming through tonight. We're doing a retro review of Light It Up 1999. All right, man. Let me see. One of the first things I wanted to get into, did we like the introduction to the students and the guard? Shout out to Usher, man. Around the 90s, outside of Usher doing music, bro was out here kind of doing this thing when it came to movies. Even when it came to television, you know, he was jumping in Moesha. He had like cameos, I think, in certain other TV shows outside of Moesha. And you know, he did The Faculty, I think, around that time too, around the 90s. You know, the Alien joint with, what's my guy name? Damn, Josh Hartnett, Elijah Wood. I think Kevin Williamson wrote that. And then, you know, he had this as far as Light It Up. But as far as did we like the introduction to our students and guards, man? Yeah, I didn't mind this introduction, man. Seeing everybody was getting to know. We got Rodney, we got Rivers, we got Lester, we got Ziggy, Lynn, and we got Stephanie. And pretty much we seeing everybody's personality, who's who, people who want to be at school and people who don't. Once again, shout out to anybody that's coming through. But yeah, man, I didn't mind this introduction, and we also get introduced to Forrest Whitaker's character, who's playing the security guard, who's pretty much this first day coming to work. So yeah, man, this introduction wasn't bad at all, and I think this was my first time watching Usher in the movie, because I don't know if I watched The Faculty before or after this. I think I actually watched The Faculty after this, if I'm not mistaken. This might have been my first movie with Usher in it. But yeah, man, I like this little concept they had set up as far as introducing everybody. I didn't mind this at all. But one thing I do want to ask. I'm going to ask this first. Did we believe these were high school students? Because, you know, around that time, it kind of was that era, even when it came to horror movies. Think about Scream and everything. I Know What You Did Last Summer, etc. You kind of had that whole thing with casting, like I would say people in their mid-20s, maybe early 20s or somewhat, playing, you know, high school students or whatever. But when it came to believing were these high school students, I mean, when it came to the acting, I'm going to give them a little bit of credit. I believe they was in school. They was high school students or whatever. I believe it. I was going with it. I mean, outside of pretty much probably, I would say, Phaedro Star and Rivers' character and probably Lynn, I would say Stephanie, Ziggy, and Usher, because Usher always had a baby face. They kind of come off as believable as high school students. The rest of them niggas like, yeah. Even some of the side characters, like, y'all need in high school, bro. Y'all niggas better go get a job. But did we believe these were high school students? I say yeah. I was with it. It definitely didn't take me out of the movie. I said, let's go ahead and go. Y'all let me know in the comments, though, do y'all believe they was high school students? Because, I mean, like I said, around the 90s, it was just the era of casting mid-20s individuals in these type of movies that was playing high school students. I remember Varsity Blues, and everybody in that movie looked like they was goddamn in their late 20s, if you ask me. No pun intended. But even around that time, Dawson's Creek, as far as TV shows, Buffy the Vampire Slayer, Hill, what's some other, everybody looked like they was kind of older. But I wasn't paying it no mind at that time. So when it came to Light It Up, I believe them as high school students. I did. All right, another thing I wanted to ask, did this put a spin on the 90s era of urban school movies? Like Dangerous Minds and Lean on Me? Because when it came to the 90s, and I know it's a lot of other movies out here that was, that kind of, that it wasn't even a trope until like one person started doing it, as far as, having this whole thing with a teacher coming in and having to deal with these difficult students that seem like they not able to be controlled, or like they too out of control. Or then you got this one teacher that's able to like build some type of bond with them. And Lean on Me, Morgan Freeman coming in as the principal, him doing what he was doing, Joe Clark building that bond he was building. Dangerous Minds, old girl coming in, having these like big rowdy students that seemed like she was definitely not going to be able to control them. And the fact that she was a white teacher coming into an urban school where a majority of it was either black or Latinos, you know what I'm saying? So it did kind of put a spin on it as far as Light It Up when it came to the whole thing with these kids weren't necessarily out of control. They actually they had common sense outside of probably Rodney. Everybody else seemed like they was pretty much straightforward. But the whole thing with, instead of like a teacher coming in and trying to save the day, or a principal coming in trying to save the day, was actually the students doing what they was doing as far as taking Forrest Whitaker's character hostage. So I didn't mind that spin because I was so used to seeing these type of movies, as far as the whole thing with the urban school and the kids and this era of these teachers or principals or whatever they was doing, coming in and trying to fix the school or trying to save the kids or whatever, because they seem like everybody giving up on them and don't nobody want to deal with them or whatever. So as far as the route that they took with this one, as far as Light It Up in this movie, being that it was 1999 too, so you had to try to do something different anyway, because we're about to go into a new era as far as the 2000s. I seen, and that kind of did help the movie and the concept and the plot. All right, another thing I'm talking about, because I think I might have some people coming through. I know Clyde was supposed to be coming through and joining me, so he might be still joining me, and I don't know if the deal is supposed to be coming through. But once again, shout out to anybody that's coming through, and anybody get a chance to check the replay. Y'all let me know how y'all feel as far as Light It Up. And if you haven't seen Light It Up, it's kind of like, I ain't gonna say it's a cult classic. I don't know if people would consider it that, but for me personally, it's like one of those guilty pleasure movies. Did we take Usher serious as a student dealing with trauma? Because Usher's character in this movie, who is Lester, he has a lot going on. He has a situation where his father was killed by the police. So now he's kind of got this whole thing with outside of his best friend Ziggy. When it comes to either the cops or even the security guards at his school, he got a thing against the law, feeling like the law, feel like and basically he don't trust the law at all. And understandable, dealing with the situation he's had to deal with his father being killed in front of him. So what I'm really asking though, as far as Usher's performance and him as an actor, did we take him serious as a student dealing with that type of trauma? And I feel like he had his moments. Sometimes I didn't know if I could or not, because hell, even with him yelling or whatever, it sounded like the nigga was about to break out singing or some shit like, you got it, bitch. Or like, but seriously though, he got his moments though where you can kind of see or believe that he kind of pulling it out of him, especially in the scenes with him and Ziggy. Like, I kind of believe him, like he dealing with this type of trauma or whatever, or even the conversation that him and Rosario Dawson's character, Stephanie, has towards the end, it kind of seems believable or whatever, that as far as him as an actor and him in his performance as a student dealing with that type of trauma, he had his moments. Not all the time, but he had his moments. It definitely wasn't a perfect performance. But as far as taking him serious, as far as Usher as a student dealing with that type of trauma, I mean, I'll probably have to say not necessarily. I think more so throughout the movie, I didn't believe him. I was like, man, okay, I see you having your moments, especially even at the end. Like, there's a moment to at the end. It's like, I mean, I'm with y'all, but I'm not sitting here like, I'm not tense, or I'm not in the moment where it's like, oh, what's gonna happen? I'm just like, let's go, let's see what's gonna go on. But as far as Usher and his performance, and I don't know if this was his first movie, he might have did some before this, but this possibly was his debut acting. So if it was, no, matter of fact, I think The Faculty that's why I said I think The Faculty came before this. That might have been his first movie. Either way, though, man, being that he had more of a role in this and more of a leading role, which I think he's more majority of the lead in this, and he wasn't the lead in the faculty. He kind of was in and out of it. He did a pretty good job. And I think I had my moments of taking him serious, but majority of the movie I didn't. All right, did we like the bond between Lester and Ziggy? I definitely enjoyed those moments. That's one thing I give us a credit for, and even the guy that plays my boy who plays Arnez on 101, and Cousin Skeeter. But of course, I don't know the actor's real name, but who plays Ziggy in this. That one thing that definitely worked for the film as far as the chemistry and the bond between these two, especially the moments where Usher was always coming in and taking up for him, and definitely knowing what Ziggy was going through and Usher dealing with what he had to go through with his character Lester. They definitely make it believable that they had this type of bond. Almost damn near thinking they were brothers. You know what I'm saying? So that definitely worked for the movie, and I liked it. I did like that. I feel like it kept the plot moving forward. Now, as far as the end, it still didn't give me that moment of being like, oh no, and nothing like that, which we're gonna talk about. But I was like, nah, I still enjoy what they did with their dough as far as the whole setup between these two. They definitely had the best chemistry in the movie, I would say, as far as their friendship and the protection that Lester showed for Ziggy. So yeah, I did like the bond between Lester and Ziggy. All right, did the teacher make the right choice taking the students off campus because of the school conditions? So we had this whole situation where school is jacked up. Like the school, like it's cold, it's in the middle of the wintertime, and everybody is in full clothes. Some people are even like wet, like coming in, probably walking in like slush or whatever from ice or snow that's done melted or anything. But either way, they dealing with not having no heat in the school. I mean, it's pretty much somewhat, I ain't gonna say it's a war zone or nothing to look like that, but broke windows and stuff like that where people can't stay warm, or leaking ceilings where you got water dripping on people when they trying to get their work done. Your girl Stephanie, she trying to focus, she trying to pay attention to the teacher or whatever, but she can't even do it because it's so much shit going on around her as far as the school and its conditions, whether it's somebody's cold or whether something's dripping on her paper or whatever. So outside of that though, did he make the right choice? Being that he did go to the principal and tell him that, I'm trying to take my students somewhere so I can still try to teach or whatever. We ain't got nowhere to go. Everybody else classroom pretty much jacked up. So now they in the lunch rooms or whatever, or they in the gym. So we trying to find somewhere to go. And the principal tells him, like, take them somewhere, anywhere. So he ends up taking them off campus to, I think, like a little mini restaurant or something like that. But the restaurant ends up getting robbed. So it comes to a situation where they end up being put in danger, being that they, being took off campus. It could be a situation where they can end up suing the school or whatever, as far as their parents, if somebody was to get hurt or anything like that. It's a lot of things that could end up happening. The thing is, though, Knowles, as far as the teacher, he was just trying to get his students somewhere so not only they can stay warm, but he was still trying to teach. And once he went to the principal, and the principal pretty much told him to go anywhere, go just get him out of here, get him out of the hallway or whatever, because that's a fire hazard or whatever. That's what he ended up doing. As far as him making the right choice, I don't know if he should have just yelled and said, yo, I'm about to take him to school. That's the thing, I guess. Should he have told him, like, well, I'm about to take him off campus then, before he took him off campus? Like, I'm trying to play devil's advocate as far as the principal. I'm like, should he have told him first, like, okay, since you telling me take him anywhere, I'm going to take him off campus. I'm going to take him to this little mini restaurant around the corner from the school. Maybe that kind of would have made things different. And he would have had acknowledgement as far as the principal, so he couldn't have, like, backtracked on what he said or whatever as far as the teacher. But he did kind of put him in a situation because anything can happen, especially when seem like the neighborhood they in, or even the school or the neighborhood they in, seems like it's not one of the best spots and anything could go down or whatever. So I'm not sure, man. I ain't even gonna front. I'm not sure if he made the right choice or not, but I would probably say yes. I know he had the best intentions, so I'll say yeah. But if we talking logic you probably got to say no, even with what the principal said. It's like, think about the amount of students you got. Once that situation ends up going down, which the store or restaurant he takes them to ends up getting robbed, that could have went a whole different way. Like, you could have had students getting killed in that situation, or somebody could have tried to be brave or play Superman to try to stop him, a naive kid or something like that. Anything could have went down. So when you playing devil's advocate and you kind of being like, if we talking about reality and logic, he probably didn't make the right choice as far as taking them off campus. He probably didn't. Even with the principal pretty much saying, do whatever you got to do, take them anywhere as long as you get them out the hallway. I'm just saying, man. I know what he was trying to do, and he, like I said, he had good intentions, but anything could have went wrong in that situation. All right, did the students take it overboard, taking the guard hostage because of Nose, the teacher getting fired, and Ziggy getting in trouble? See, in this moment, we don't actually know what's going on. Well, why Ziggy don't want to go home, for one, or why he don't want them to call his parents. We don't know the story behind that at first. And as far as Nose getting fired, yeah, that seemed like it was wrong, because he did go in there and tell him, like, we ain't got nowhere to go. And the principal did tell him, like, go anywhere. But like I just said, maybe he should have told the principal, like, well, I'm about to take him off campus before he actually did that. Maybe it would have been different circumstances. Now, did they take it overboard? Because, like, it seemed like the guard, like, nigga, he had, like, targets, because he already had one confrontation. Well, not really a confrontation, but one situation with Ziggy kind of at the beginning of the movie. And then when this situation comes up, when you got, like, a whole bunch of other students in the hallway, and the principals don't say just arrest Ziggy, he say arrest Lester, Rivers, and he say arrest Stephanie. If Stephanie walks off too, and I don't see him chasing after her, so what makes him just like, I got to go check after Ziggy, even though I know more than likely he couldn't probably go after her, being that she's a young female, a young lady or whatever, or a young woman. He don't want to, you know what I'm saying, cross those lines or try and tackle or go after her or whatever. But when it came to Ziggy, it did seem like he was kind of on him too much. Like, even when it came to Lester was standing there talking still or whatever, and Ziggy was trying to get away or whatever, but still, it was like he wanted to leave everybody else alone and make sure he got Ziggy. So when it comes to, did they take it overboard as far as taking the guard hostage because of Nose, the teacher, getting fired and everything? I mean, not really, because once again, we don't know the situation with Ziggy and why he didn't want to go home. And then it was a situation where it was an accident as far as Ziggy and the cop getting shot or whatever, because he pretty much went and tried to get him while that man was holding a loaded gun, which, nigga, you need to just back up and let him get a chance to put the thing down. So I don't think they took it overboard, because once again, when you're talking about a situation with 90s, police, the court systems, and everything that can go down, they could have been in a situation where he just automatically gone. That's it. Being that nobody probably want to listen to him, or they looking at the situation as, man, it's a urban school. We dealing with these urban or these inner city kids or whatever. He guilty by association. All right, one of the next. Y'all can let me know in the comments too how y'all feel as far as, did the students take it overboard, taking the guard hostage because of Nose getting fired and Ziggy getting in trouble. Let me know how y'all feel about that too. All right, did Lester backstory justify his actions? I kind of talked about this earlier, but it's a situation with pretty much Lester as far as his father, and like I said earlier, as far as his father being killed by the police or whatever. So it's not even so much of him doing this because he feel like the police did him wrong, as far as the situation he ends up getting into, as far as him taking the security guard hostage, is more so him protecting Ziggy, and that's what leads to his actions. So it just more so amplifies it once he starts to look around and say, yo, this is once again the law trying to take control of a situation and take it control out of my hands, being that I couldn't save my daddy, but I can save Ziggy. You see what I'm saying? And I think that's what the situation was, and I think it does justify his actions, because he had already lost somebody that he cared about and he loved, and he didn't want to lose somebody else too. So yeah, I did think it justified his actions as far as Lester when it came to his backstory and the way things end up going down. All right, did Ziggy revealing his abuse at home change the situation? Because up until this point, especially with the guard, it's like he's basically like everybody's guilty. Everybody's guilty. Everybody. And once again, it was like he had somewhat of a little bit of a vendetta against Ziggy after he had that little situation with him at the beginning, and then seeming like he singled him out and went straight after him when it was more than him that was supposed to be getting took in detention until they called his parents. But once they noticed the abuse, especially the security guard, then the situation does kind of change. Now he's still trying to get up out of there, being that he's shot or whatever. But especially once Lester starts explaining to him pretty much what you done caused or what you could have had happen, because you got this whole situation, and it's pretty much Ziggy when they trying to take the guard hostage, or when they pretty much fighting for the gun or whatever, and he telling him, "I can't go home. He gonna kill me. I can't go home," and that's all he keeps saying. But see, at the time, the security guard don't understand the situation. He don't know. He just see this kid or this student pointing a gun at him. So it definitely changed the situation once it's revealed what's going on with Ziggy at home. Definitely changed the situation. All right, who was the real villain? The principal, or Rodney, or the cops? Because we had this whole situation with the principal, who pretty much was backtracking on his words, knowing he did tell the teacher to take them anywhere as long as they're not in the hall. And once again, I do say the teacher should have said, "Okay, fine, I'm gonna take them to this restaurant since you're saying take them anywhere." So the teacher, the principal would have been like, wait, and I ain't say all that, and it probably would have did that whole situation. But either way, and even when it came to the situation with the security guard and Ziggy, it seems like he didn't want to hear nobody else's story or nobody else of what happened outside of security guards. And it was already guilty by association. He was trying to throw Ziggy in jail immediately. So was it him being the real villain, or was it the cops? Okay, they did kind of try to slow the situation down, because you had some cops that was on the scene early once everything go down, who really wanted to just bust in there and take everybody out and get their fellow wounded officer back. But when it came to Vanessa L. Williams' character and this other cop, they pretty much come in and try to pretty much have a hostage negotiation situation. But hey, they start like bro trying to get this done before the day over with. And when it comes to, I don't think this is her partner, but I think this is somebody who pretty much joins on the case that's kind of got, I think, maybe somewhat of a lead over her, or a little bit more of authority over her when it comes to the police or the situation. He pretty much tells her, like, "Bro, you better do something. Better tell them something. My people gonna go in and take over this situation." Now, when it come to Rodney, though, bro doesn't even want to be there, really. He was gonna leave, but he got this whole situation going on in the streets, and he got these people waiting on him, so he ends up going ahead and staying because he's scared that he's gonna get took out. But all the whole time, all he doing is trying to get the gun. All he wants is that gun. And I already can tell you what he was gonna try to do. If Lester would have gave him that gun, he was gonna go ahead and be out, because he was gonna have some protection at that time now. But I'm like, nigga, you know they was gonna search you right once you actually got out, if that was his plan. Like, they got the whole thing guarded, and they searching all the kids who are still coming out once y'all doing what y'all doing. So I don't know if that would necessarily would have worked as far as Rodney's plan. But definitely, man, the whole thing with him trying to egg on Lester, as far as him trying to go ahead and take out the guard or whatever, or him pretty much in the demands or whatever, and telling him y'all gonna have to start pretty much torturing the guard and doing something to him so they can know we serious. Your boy Rodney was on demon time this whole time. Shout out to Fredro Starr too, bro. You know, he was like one of those 90s people, him and Sticky Fingers, that was in a bunch of stuff, and he's a really decent actor. Like, he's actually a decent actor, him and Sticky Fingers. But yeah, man, when it came to this situation between Lester and Rodney, Lester somewhat stayed in control. He pretty much stood his ground when it came to Rodney. He kind of didn't let him intimidate him. Well, when it got kind of towards the end, it seemed like he was kind of letting him get in his head. But it was everything else that was going on around him, I think, that was kind of affecting him too, as far as Lester. But when it comes to who was the real villain, Rodney had his moments, but I feel like it's the principal, because if he kind of would have went ahead and tried to take care of the situation as far as them leaving the school or whatever, I think a lot of this probably none of this wouldn't have happened, because it's all started with him pretty much getting fired after he took him off campus. So I think the real villain is the principal. The cops pretty much just trying to do their job. And when it come to Rodney, like I said, he wasn't even supposed to be there, but Rodney being who Rodney is, but when it came to the principal, he pretty much caused all this mayhem. So I think he is the real villain. Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and go with the principal. And y'all can let me know in the comments who y'all think the real villain is too. All right, man. One of the next things I wanted to jump into, was it ever a chance for Tim to actually get away? Like, have y'all ever seen the whole show or what they used to show, How to Get Away with Murder? Not How to Get Away with Murder. I'm thinking about your girl, Viola Davis. I almost got away with it. I think that's the name of it. But either way, did we ever think, was it ever a chance for them to actually get away with this? No. And I think Set It Off came out before this, so they definitely was coming off some Set It Off vibes too when I think they made this. We didn't have as many casualties like we had with Set It Off, but still, it pretty much wasn't no chance of them getting away. But I think they also knew themselves that they ain't have a chance to get away. But I think they were just trying to make a change, though. They was like, "Nah, we done got to this point. Why not go out all the way through with it and pretty much set an example so we can be, you know what I'm saying, the example, and we can be that change, you know. So people or students who come after us, they'll have opportunity that we didn't get." So I think they kind of did know that they wasn't going to actually get away with this. But, I mean, think about it. We could have went into a direction where it could have been some type of thing that they ended up doing, or maybe they built some type of connection with the security guard and he ended up getting them or helping them get away, or he ended up telling them it was a situation or kind I don't know. I just feel like, no, was it ever a chance for them to get away with this? Absolutely not. No. And my bad, I ain't saying nothing. My background, I've been kind of coming outside sometimes a little bit and doing the reviews lately because, for one, my daughter still be up as far as my youngest one, running around making a bunch of noise. But outside of that, I am going to be back inside sooner than later. I got the whole Halloween thing I'm trying to set up as far as the look that's going to be pretty much going on as far as my background. But y'all see that. Anyway, next thing I want to talk about, did we think Lester would shoot the guard? Because now we pretty much at the end, pretty much at the point of no return. They're not answering their demands. They seem like they're trying to bust in and take them out because at one point in time, being Rodney and who he is, he ends up trying to take the security guard to go to the bathroom, whatever, but he ends up knocking Rodney out as far as the security guard played by Forrest Whitaker. And when it seems like he's almost getting away, you got the cops who's kind of done been easing in. They're pretty much going for it. But your boy Ziggy, he got this little secret spot that they end up hiding in. But once again, Lester, he got Rodney in his head. He end up kind of thinking about the situation with his father. So now he's kind of like, yo, I'm at this point, and it seemed like they ain't gonna listen. It's time to go all the way. Did we think Lester would shoot the guard? No. No. I knew it was gonna go down some other way. Now, I ain't gonna lie. I didn't know it was gonna go the way that it ended up going, but I absolutely knew they weren't gonna do this whole thing with him shooting the guard. And I ain't gonna front, man. This kind of was cheesy to me. It was a little cheesy, and I think it might have been the acting with us and being, you know, Forrest Whitaker being a veteran actor that he is. He was like doing his thing, doing what he was supposed to do, but it was a little cheesy. It was, because once again, I wasn't convinced. I wasn't tense. I wasn't at this point in time thinking like, oh my gosh, what's going to happen? Oh, Lester, don't do it. Don't shoot him. I was just more so like, all right, let's see what's going to go on. And that's my first viewing of this when I was young. It never gave me those moments. Think about, you know, like I said, Set It Off. Or even, like I said, if we're talking about the comparisons like to Dangerous Minds or Lean On Me, you got those moments in Lean On Me when Joe Clark trying to put the locks on the school or whatever, and they coming up there trying to do what they do as far as catch him with the locks on the door, or when he had a confrontation with the drug dealer who ends up sneaking in the school or whatever, and he had to face off with him, or even with Dangerous Minds, when you had old girl building this bond with one of the students who ends up getting killed. So I'm just saying, man, I had certain moments with those type of films where it was like, okay, I believe y'all. When it came to this, I don't believe you. You don't believe you out here on your never mind, I ain't gonna say. But nah, man, I ain't think he was gonna shoot the guard. And y'all can let me know, did we think Lester was gonna shoot this guard? I didn't believe it. And at this point in time, the guard has kind of formed some type of bond with them too, because you got the snipers out there, they got the red dots out, and he kind of is like getting in the way of the dots so they don't take out Lester or whatever. And it's kind of having like this moment between the two of them, like almost like a redemption moment for Lester, and that he didn't get with his father. No, nigga, I don't believe it. I'm sorry. Anyway, did we feel bad for Arnaz? My bad, cousin Ski. Did we feel bad for Ziggy, man? Because once again, that's one of the things I did enjoy with the movie, and that's one of the things that kept me kind of going as far as the bond and the relationship between Lester and Ziggy. And it kind of, once again, that whole protection that Lester had with Ziggy, and also Ziggy and the protection he had for Lester. So when everything starts to go down, and once again, you got the rifles out, and they about to seem like they're going to take out Lester, Ziggy comes out of nowhere, and they end up shooting Ziggy. So when we get to this moment, I ain't gonna front. I wasn't sad, man. I'm sorry, y'all. I wasn't. It didn't captivate me. It didn't have me in the moment. I wasn't like, no, Ziggy. I felt bad for him, though. I did. I felt bad for him, but it didn't have no emotional ties with me. Even with Usher running in all slow and they doing the slow motion thing or whatever, this didn't catch me. This moment didn't catch me, nigga. This wasn't Jada Pinkett and your girl at the end to set it off when she got shot in the bank. This wasn't it. This wasn't it. But it still was a decent performance. Now I ain't gonna sit here and say it was a bad performance or whatever, because once again, as far as the movie, and if we had anybody that had really good chemistry, it definitely was these two. As far as Usher and the actor who played Ziggy, they had good chemistry for the characters of Lester and Ziggy. But as far as these little moments right here, outside of the whole standoff of Lester and the guard, which was kind of cheesy to me, this moment, I wouldn't feel it. It didn't hit me. I was like, man, Ziggy, no, Ziggy. Anyway. All right, thing I did want to ask, did the plot, oh shit, I probably worded this wrong. My bad, y'all. Oh, my bad, I didn't. Did the plot point out real life situations dealing with inner city schools and kids and the differences between the way police would deal with situations if it wasn't an urban school? Or even dealing with, like I said, majority of this school had blacks and Latinos or whatever. So, you know what I'm saying? With the situation kind of been different, it was a more of a suburban school. You know what I'm saying? Where they kind of held back a little bit longer or whatever. That's one thing about the movie that it does try to kind of point out. So it has these moments where this is like that 90s woke before the word woke was kind of out here. So it did kind of have its moments where it was trying to, have that message, I don't know if it was executed as good as it could have been, kind of the ways. Once again, I got to make these references as far as a movie like Lean on Me kind of did. Even Dangerous Minds kind of did kind of better. But once again, I like the spin that they did with this. But as far as the plot pointing out these real life situations and the way the cops will handle them, absolutely. This is now. That's one thing they had on point. This is absolutely how they would deal with it. Look at the cop at the beginning when he was just ready to bomb rush and go in there and take everybody out and just try to get the cop back. And once again, how you wouldn't even shot the cop or got him injured or got him in a worse situation. But I definitely think it does point out those statistics. Absolutely. And this is the 90s, so you had a lot of those moments. All right, man. Let me see. Did we like where the students ended up in life after the events that took place? Because at this moment, after Ziggy gets shot, everybody gets caught. Everybody goes down. They get everybody. And we got everybody after their situations or whatever. Some people, well, if I think most of them did go do time, well, not that much time or whatever, but most of them end up on parole, if I'm not mistaken, outside of your boy Rodney, because, things he was up to and what he was trying to do kill. Yeah, I think he probably the one that ends up serving probably the more time than anybody. But he pretty much doing good though. Seems like he done got Islam, he done calmed down, he changing his attitude or whatever. You got your girl Lynn, she done had the baby, whatever, and I forgot to mention the character of Lynn who is pregnant in the movie, whatever. But we got so much going on with Lester, Ziggy, and the guard. It's like anyway. It's showing Rivers. He done pretty much went to the military, and it don't really say too much of what, or did it? Maybe I forgot. But as far as Lester and Stephanie, I know Lester is going back up to the spot they was hiding at, showing the art and stuff that Ziggy had pretty much been working on, being that was pretty much his hiding spot, being that he didn't want to go home and deal with the situation he had to deal with as far as the abuse that he was dealing with. But they do kind of go back and show what Lester and them been up to as far as showing other students and talking about the things that they did as far as when they took the security guard hostage and what they did to make the improvements to the conditions of the school or whatever. So that's pretty much seeming like that's what Lester and Stephanie are doing, pretty much letting Ziggy's legacy live on. All right, outside of that, Light It Up soundtrack. Hey man, I forgot this actually a decent soundtrack, but is it a top 10 90 soundtrack? Because you gotta remember we had Above the Rim, Nutty Professor, Rush Hour. Like, it's a lot. Even Soul Food, nigga. Hey, I gotta put Soul Food on the list. But Ja Rule, he got some joints on here. They got a song that play in the movie with Ja Rule on there. That joint sound good. DMX, he got a song that play in here that sound good. So this was definitely in the 90s was definitely this town. My bad, I said the town. Was definitely the time to be around when it came to soundtracks, especially when it came to, black movies or whatever, urban movies or whatever you want to call them. Definitely was the soundtrack time. But this a decent one, man. This is a decent one. I see we got John B on here. We got 112. We got Emil, Soleil, Outkast. Damn, AZ and Beanie Singer. Beanie Singer on the song together. Got Master P. Definitely, man. I'm gonna have to go back and check this Light It Up soundtrack out. Go to the Spotify playlist. But y'all let me know as far as when it came to 90 soundtracks, was this the top 10? If you even remember this soundtrack. All right, man. Last but not least, did we like the movie? Once again, back in the day, I enjoyed this movie. I did. I kind of watched this on and off time from time. Watching it today and going back and rewatching it, I still got an enjoyment for it. Once again, it's a guilty pleasure for me. I can't call it a cult classic, but I can call it a guilty pleasure. I enjoy it for what it is, so definitely not bad at all, man. But if y'all have not seen Light It Up with Usher in it, Federal Star, and a couple more people in it, definitely Vanessa L. Williams, give it a try, man. You might like it. Once again, this was around the time where we had those, urban high school movies, and this was kind of a different one, though. It kind of put a spin on it outside of what we, once again, would Lean on Me and Dangerous Minds. Once again, I do know it's other movies out there, too, that was doing this kind of same formula as far as, once again, the out of control students or out of control school that's going crazy, but you got this one student, this one teacher or this one principal that could come in while they lonesome and save this whole school or save these students. But yeah, man, y'all let me know if y'all had a chance to check out Light It Up. How do y'all feel about it? Have y'all seen it or have y'all not seen it? And if you haven't, definitely give it a try. You might like it. Make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. Make sure you hit that notification button. What's going on, T-Virus, bro? Appreciate you coming through. Pretty good, bro. I'm doing all right. Doing this little retro review of Light It Up. Let me know if you don't had a chance to check it out, bro. It's a pretty decent movie. Oh, no doubt, bro. Definitely, always. I can't wait to see what you got coming in December, bro. Definitely gonna be there to check it out. Shout out to T-Virus, Terrence. If y'all are subscribed to my channel, definitely go over there and check him out. He is raw, unfiltered, and he say whatever he feel like saying. And by the way, he does not like the humans as far as us. Shout out to T-Virus. All right, man, we getting up out of here. Once again, make sure you hit that like button. If you're not subscribed to the channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Make sure you hit that notification bell, let you know when I upload new videos. Other than that, we out.